Good afternoon, family, and welcome to Intimate Conversations with Francis O'Brien, healing one heart at a time. A beautiful day. As always, I think I need to change that intro, but it's a nice day. Honestly, the sun is shining. It has been so gloomy for the past, I'm sure, week or so, especially once the lockdown was implemented in South Africa. It's been raining, the weather's been off the charts. It's just been crazy. So I thought, you know what, and I've been feeling really offish, and I'm thinking, when do I record? Because it's been a while since I recorded, and I thought, it's time that I recorded. It's been a while. I have been writing content, but just to get to the point where you're behind the camera, so it takes a lot of self-prepping and self-encouragement, let me put it that way. And I remember coming across a very interesting I think it was a post on Pinterest, and it said, don't believe in yourself, but believe Jesus Christ in you. So don't believe in the fact that you can do this, but believe that you can believe in Jesus Christ in you that can help you do those things. I thought that was a very interesting take. I've never looked at it that way, because I know they always say believe in Jesus Christ in the sense that he can help you. But don't believe in you only, but believe in him in you. I thought it was rather interesting to look at it that way. And you get onto social media quite a lot, especially during the pandemic, and I hope that it's not something that all of us have fallen victim to. I will agree, I have fallen victim to it, and it's so tempting. The last thing you do when you get into bed is you're on your phone. The first thing you do when you wake up is you're on your phone. And I've been trying not to do that. So it's a bit tricky, when you try to get off the phone, stay off television, and have times where you meditate. But look at it this way. Everything in life happens for a reason. I believe that this COVID pandemic is actually bringing a lot of people closer to God. That's my personal belief. I think a lot of people are staying in their homes, are dealing with situations that they were running away from because of the busyness of life. I feel that a lot of people were running away from problems, and right now, them being forced to stay at home with no cigarettes as a form of release, no alcohol, as a form of relaxation as well, is really forcing people to rethink their lives. There's no gym to distract you. A lot of people don't have personal gyms in their houses, so you are forced to stay in the house and be creative. And I'm looking at different commercials on television that are, encouraging people on how to be creative. Either you exercise at home, you get into some kind of arts and craft, you dance, you cook different foods and stuff like that. Which, if you think of it, we should have been doing already in our personal time. It didn't have to take, a viral spread for us to wake up and realize that there's so much more to life. But I guess, like I said, everything happens for a reason. And I believe that as we are human beings in this lifetime, we grow through different difficulties, we grow through challenges, we grow through pain. A lot of people have been running away from that, and now they can't. This period will either restore marriages or it won't restore marriages. Ultimately, God knows everything that happens. One thing I must say I'm very grateful for is that God is definitely a provider. As we are locked away in our houses, it has been raining. Can you imagine being locked away or being quarantined, and there is no water, or water shedding is implemented, and because there's no water, because if you're at home, you're going to be using a lot of the utilities more than the average person, because you are at home. So electricity is going to increase, electricity usage is going to increase, water usage is going to increase, sewage is going to increase. So there's just a lot of things, and God has just been, providing rain. And I thought of it in two ways. I thought, okay, he's providing water for us so that we're not stranded at home. But number two, water is a form of washing away and a form of cleansing, which is a really powerful way of looking at it. Our whole world needs to be cleansed and purged of this horrible disease. And if quarantining is what it's going to take, I hope that people are patient, I hope that people are understanding, and I hope that people are kind to each other, especially during this time. Everybody's on edge. People are getting salary cuts, people are getting retrenched. It's a scary time to be in. Thank God if you haven't lost your job. Thank God if you haven't had a pay cut. And to those that have, it is not the end of the world. This is going to come to an end, and we are going to get into a new phase that's going to require a lot of human effort, that's going to require manpower, because a lot of companies have to be built all together from the ground. So there's a lot of work that is waiting for us once this is over. So this is our time of relaxation, finding ourselves. Then once the quarantine is over, then it's back to reality. There's a lot of things that have to be done. Some parents are even doing homeschooling at the moment, so there's no rest for them either. But yeah, that is just my 2 cents of thought as to everything that is happening. It's not easy indeed being cooped up in a place for a long period of time. But you realize that you can do a lot of things that are very constructive to self in your personal time, in your space. There's a lot that you can do during this time. Right, before I get ahead of myself, I've got my handy book, and today I'm talking about a very interesting topic. It's taken me a while. I was actually smiling to myself and, writing my notes and thinking, is this going to be something I'm going to be very comfortable talking about? But you know what? I am going to be comfortable talking about it. I know I say that most of the times about a lot of my topics, but today is a very interesting one. Why? Because today we are talking about sex. And I know a lot of people were attracted by the heading that are going to click. Praise be to God. But I hope that this video, it opens your eyes as it opened mine. And I hope that it educates you more than I would have envisioned. And every time before I do my videos, I always pray and I ask God that these videos go out as much as they can and they touch the world. I'm not really in a hurry about the time factor. I'm concerned about the people that need to watch it. So if you can, please don't forget to share this video on your platforms with whoever you feel is going to benefit from these videos. Unfortunately, I'm not the type of person that is just busy with graphics on my videos and stuff like that. Maybe when I have, by the grace of God, and I've expanded and I have a whole setup, I can get somebody who can help me do graphics and stuff like that. But for now, today's topic is sex just isn't enough. Sex just isn't enough. It's a very interesting topic because I relate to it so personally because something happened to me. And when I got to sit down and thinking about this, I thought, sex really isn't enough. It's just not enough. And a lot of people think that it is. So a lot of people think that it is, and it really isn't. I was sitting with girlfriends, colleagues, female colleagues that is, and you get to listen to people's stories as they talk about, their experiences, their sexual experiences and stuff like that. And I mean, let's be honest, we do talk about these things. And one thing I am going to be in this video is going to be brutally, brutally, brutally honest. One of the things that we normally do as women, we talk about sex. And sometimes we're graphic, sometimes we're not. I guess it depends on the company we're with. One thing I've noticed with a lot of women is they're not comfortable talking about sex with their family members. They're not comfortable talking about sex with sometimes maybe even your neighbor. But it depends on the relationship that you have. A lot of the times we develop our relationships with the people that we work with because we are there the majority of the time, especially during our very alert hours of the day. So you find that, maybe during your lunchtime, or you bump into a colleague at the photocopy machine, or, in the kitchen for a cup of coffee. And then, women get to sharing information and stuff like that. And the older we get as women, when we chat with our girlfriends, we realize that we are really similar. There's really nothing that, that much different when you compare woman to woman. And in that realization, you also come to say that we're all plagued by the same problems. Kids, family, relationships, jobs, finances, bills. We are all hit by the same challenges. Obviously not at the same time. Sometimes it's really odd when your things begin to run almost coincidental with, you know, people in an office. Very rare, but it does happen. You find that maybe at some point when you're talking about your personal issues, you are not too far from another colleague of yours who has gone through something. Now look, it depends. Like I said, some people are comfortable talking about these issues with their friends. Some people are not comfortable talking about these issues with their friends. But by talking, you know, and I realized that as I listened to these women and I thought of myself and I thought of my journey and I thought, this person has actually gone through what I went through. Or you think, wow, I'm at this point where this person has passed through what I've gone through, or what the, you know, or the other way around, if you know what I mean. And it's very important for us. You know, I'm laughing because I'm just thinking of the pointers that I'm going to raise further on in this book, but, or rather in this topic. This is a very hard conversation to have because it requires honesty and transparency with yourself. Now, I know that as well, a lot of us tend to lie in our relationship, in our narration of events when we're talking to third parties. Some of us are honest, especially when we're really looking for advice or we're looking for, you know, guidance of some sort. But the thing is, once you have those conversations at work, when you come back home and you apply that conversation to yourself and you think, I really am not different. So if somebody, if so-and-so went through this, then there's chances are, you know, and I'm going through the same thing, then I will get through this. That's the beauty of being transparent when you're having certain conversations. And this doesn't always relate to sex. It could relate to bills. When somebody tells you that, I don't know how I'm going to survive this month, then they came across maybe a financial planner who advised and then they recommended, and you think, oh, I never thought of doing, so, you know, going to consult a financial planner. So many women, myself included, have mistaken sex for love. And I think you've heard this many times over and over again, that a lot of us as women, we mistake sex for love, and we think that when somebody's really intimate with us, that means they really love us. This could not be far from the truth. It is so far from the truth to think that just because you're intimate with somebody means they love you. And I'll tell you why I say that in my understanding. Women are naturally affectionate people, and our expression of love, apart from nurturing, is to give ourselves, give our bodies to our partners. That's how we feel it. That's how we express our love. Now, we think that what we do is what men do in return, and it really isn't. That's why men are able to have, you know, multiple relationships simultaneously, if anything, and almost detach. But women can't, because our expression of love is done physically. Their expression of love is not done physically. So people also don't understand that sex was created for procreation. It wasn't just created for the act of fun. It is procreation, and it also is a form of intimacy, especially between a husband and a wife. That is why God created sex. It is a form of strengthening intimacy between a husband and a wife, but also because of procreation. Now, sex is one of the components of love. It is not love. It isn't. Just because as women we express ourselves in sexual activities does not mean men express themselves as sexual activities. Right. So sex becomes an act when it is done for selfish purposes. I haven't even gotten into the pointers. It becomes an act when it's done for selfish purposes. And when I say selfish purposes, I'm talking about booty calls, one-night stands, orgies, sexual fantasies, and all those kinds of things. Then it becomes selfish, and sex is not meant to be selfish. Remember, I said sex is meant for a husband and a wife to express love for each other, to form a stronger bond, to create another form of intimacy. So sex isn't the only form of intimacy. There's different forms of intimacy that a couple can have, particularly, and I will always talk about married couples, because after all, as Christians in a perfect world, we really should be abstaining from sexual activities before marriage. So in one of the conversations that I had, I remember with my girlfriend, this one wasn't a colleague setup, it was with my girlfriend, right? So a lot of women, I don't know what it is about deep voices, but a lot of women melt. I can't say myself included, because I really don't think I've really been around somebody in my private space with a husky deep voice. But when I watch it on television, I'm like, ooh, that voice is sexy. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of women have gotten into trouble, because of deep voices. I know it sounds trivial. Oh my goodness. I know it sounds trivial, but those are some of the things I think that trigger women. A husky voice, a masculine, well-toned man, that type of thing. So I won't speak much, like I said, about married people in this particular video, because sex is used to strengthen their relationship. But I'm going to talk about the single ladies. And if guys are going to watch this video as well, I pray they do. If ladies are going to watch this and they think guys are going to benefit from this, please can you also share it with your guys and say, you know what? Yeah, no, just tell them, you know what, Francis probably waffled in the beginning and just said a whole lot of, you can fast forward and whatever. And then get to the pointers. Right. So I listed a few points that I feel indicate that sex is, or rather that prove sex isn't everything. So number one, the thing that we tell ourselves is, if I improve my skills in the bedroom, he'll love me more, or he'll be committed only to me. You know, ladies, and I've heard women do this to say, you know what, I watched this video, and then the video circulates, you know, whether it's pornography, whether it's, I don't know, maybe somebody explaining a tutorial, perhaps. And, you know, we tell ourselves that, you know, if I upgrade my sex game, not necessarily that we tell each other that, but when we talk, or maybe you hear somebody saying, you know, last night I tried doing 1, 2, 3, and you know, it was really fun, it was explosive, and you think, I've never tried that. Maybe when I go home and I meet my boyfriend, I'm going to try 1, 2, 3, you know, and you just become consumed in wanting to really up your sexual game. And then you think that, you know, and then obviously your partner will be so enthralled by this new skill. Sometimes some guys will ask, sometimes guys won't ask. But they'll definitely enjoy it, that's for sure. And wonder, ooh, what's gotten into her? She's so feisty today. And you think, okay, you know, the more I keep upping my game, he's going to really stay around my circles. He's going to be more loving. He's going to realize that I'm putting a lot of effort into upping my game sexually. And, you know, he's going to see that I really care about our sexual relationship and our intimacy. And Right. The thing is, for me, what I've noticed is that when you begin to upgrade yourself and you do all these skills, and as time goes by, the ring doesn't come, or you have an episode of infidelity from his side, you begin to feel very empty. You feel empty, and then you feel trashy afterwards. Some women are very confident and will say, well, if he doesn't like my skills, then I know where else to go and get, you know, to go and up my game, or to go and enjoy my game or my newly acquired skill, for lack of better expressions. But the thing is, when you're really honest with yourself and you sit alone, you will get to a point where you think, I really feel empty, because what I've done, this person is not really necessarily enjoyed it, but I'm not getting that commitment. This is why in the beginning I said, women say, if I improve my skills in the bedroom, he's going to love me more, or he'll be more committed to me. But you feel more haunted, you feel empty. Sometimes you even get to a point to say, you won't even say it literally, because it would really make you sound cheap if you say, I even went to learn how to up my sexual game, and you're still cheating on me, like what the hell you want? Because subconsciously we feel that men are only moved by sex. There's many things that move men. And when he doesn't commit, it becomes such a problem. when he is not putting the ring on the finger, we begin to get depressed because our focus is so much on the bedroom. Meanwhile, there's many other things that we should be focusing on as women, as couples especially. And it's not about sex. And even guys also think the same way. When guys talk, they're like, yeah, no, it was a session last night. You know, it was really happening. It was on. Like hot butter popcorn. I couldn't resist. I think I got that from, what's this movie? This series. It's old. Living Single. The one that had Queen Latifah and, oh gosh, I can't remember her, the neighbor and I think her two other flatmates. So the thing is, we keep on engaging in these sexual acts and engaging in them, and we think that we're going to get a commitment, we're going to get a bond, we're going to get loyalty, we're going to get a trust, gain trust from this person and absolute transparency, and that couldn't be far from the truth. Ladies, honestly, really, it's really, at this day and age, you cannot be thinking that sex, when you upgrade your sexual game, you know, you're going to get commitment. Some ladies are confident enough to say, you know what, it's not even about that, I just want to have fun, I don't want any commitment. Look, that also in itself, you get tired because there's only so many people you can give your body to. And it's different for women. We are not used to just giving out our bodies like that, ladies. And let's be honest, we are not. Men are very easy to... Let me give you an example. Ladies, you know what it's like when you meet a guy, né? And, you know, maybe you want to meet for a sexual encounter. Who's very quick to remove their clothes first? For you to know that they have no issues with their bodies and intimacy and getting naked. Who, between the man and the woman, is the first to get naked first? That's where you should realize that for them it's really nothing. For us it takes a while because we're body conscious and stuff like that. Yes, the older you grow, the older you become, the less conscious and more confident actually you become in all your wrinkles and curves and flaws and stuff like that. So we were really never as women built to engage in sex temporarily. We were not built to engage in sex temporarily. So you will ask yourself as a woman, what he does with me. Like for instance, when you are intimate and you've checked your game with somebody and he's learned it with you because it's something new and you guys have never done it before, you're going to get to a point where you ask yourself, I wonder if this guy is going to do this with somebody else. Or I wonder if he's going to practice this new skill with somebody else, especially if you suspect him of being cheating. That statement in itself is a very bad statement. It's a very hard question you should be asking yourself. Why am I even talking like that? Why should I be talking like that? I shouldn't be talking like that. One should be sharing that intimate and powerful skill with your husband. Honestly, if it's your God-ordained husband, I don't think that he's really going to be so rigid to the point that he's like, I don't do this. God knows who he pairs with who. There's some people who are like, I don't do that. And there's some people like, hey, let's slam it. There's different types of couples that come together. And I'm talking about marriage. But unfortunately, we are so quick to rush and, you know, jump into a committed relationship or jump into marriage, and we don't iron out some of these very important details. So, moving on to number 2. The other issue that we tell ourselves, or rather that proves that sex isn't enough, is that you tell yourself, I can't let go of this particular person because of the way they make me feel. This person gets me. They understand my body. They understand how to touch me. They can read my body. They can sense my emotions. They can sense my responses as to what I like and what I don't like. And we fear that as women, if we stop getting that good from the guy, we're losing out. So it's like, if I stop seeing this guy, he's going to give it to somebody else. And as a result, I can't let go of this person because they get me so much. Yeah. So as a result of this kind of mindset, we tolerate what we shouldn't. We really tolerate what we shouldn't. We tolerate mediocrity and we think it's okay, simply for the fear of losing out. What do they call it? FOMO. Yeah, FOMO, fear of missing out. And that is just being fixed. It causes you to be fixated with one person, and it blocks your growth as an individual. It blocks your progress. And you create a soul tie. You create an unwanted soul tie. Ladies, if you don't know what a soul tie is, it's like when you're really bonded to this person, where your soul feels like you can almost connect with this person wherever they are, and you can't get them out of your mind, you can't get them out of your system. They are everywhere. You dream about this person, you fantasize about this person. Even when you've broken up, you cannot get over this person. That is a soul tie. So when you tell yourself, I can't let go of this person because they get me, who am I going to find that's going to get me? I have to start from the ground again and stuff like that. But the thing is, why do you have to start from the ground again, especially on an intimate level, when that's one chapter that you can close and there is no starting from the ground? Is it not better to just ask simple questions? Hi, how are you? Are you good? Going out for dates? You know, breaking that ice before you get to the sexual part. Because you should be, especially when you're now a middle-aged woman, above 35, there's certain things that you really shouldn't just be tampering with out of the fun of it. You're creating soul ties, and by now you should have really matured and learned a lot of lessons, you know, but people are different. Some of my sisters will say, I don't need a man, I can take care of my bills, all I just need is the sex. All I just need is the sex. I don't need this man's money, he mustn't support me, I've got kids, I can take care of my kids, I don't want him to look after me at all I just want is sex. As I said in the previous point, we were not built to just give our bodies like that. You will get tired. You can pretend and say, you know what, no, I'm just exploring my sexuality and stuff like that. We were not built for that. Eventually, you're going to sit down and think, oh my God, what is my body count? And how will you feel when you come to a realization of what your body count truly is? So, let's be truthful to ourselves, ladies, and say that, oh, in the sense that we end up assuming that because he gets my body, that's another misconception. Because a guy gets my body, he gets my heart, he gets my brain, he understands me. Because he gets my heart, because he gets my body, he gets my brain. This is why I said in the beginning of this video, and I talked about the husky voice melts you. Then, you know, some men have got very deep voices with very empty content. Very empty content. Nothing constructive is coming out of this man's mouth that will help you, increase you, you know. Some women who are listening to me now will say, well, I don't care, I don't need that. No, honey, you will care. You may not care now, but you're going to care. You were not built for that. It is very difficult to just open up yourself to somebody and, okay, I almost got graphic and nasty there, but let me not do that. So, just because this man now gets my body, he gets my heart, he gets my brain. No, honey, he doesn't get your heart and he doesn't get your brain, he just gets your body. There's a very big difference. It's not like you're going to be talking about massive, economic challenges while you're doing the do, for you to understand, your IQ, both of you. So, let's get that out the way, ladies. Just because he gets your body doesn't mean he gets your heart, and it doesn't mean he gets your brain. It doesn't. Right. What chapter am I on? Looks like I have lost myself. Oh no, I haven't lost myself. Because I was at a point thinking, oh no, where have I gone? Like, what point am I on? I think I'm still on point number 2. Right? If I improve my skill, I said that one. Improve, oh yeah, number 3 was, I don't know why I got lost there. I can't let go of this person. Or if I let go of this person, he's going to get the good, give the good somewhere else. Right. So, if you look at these men holistically, ladies, let's be honest, here's another thing. If you look at these men holistically, they're not the kind of men that you really want to be in a relationship with. Let's be honest. Most of the times, the men that get our bodies are not the men we want to be in a relationship with. No, think of it, and think of that statement really deeply. Just because he's got a good voice, just because he's got a certain anatomy that is, bigger than the ones you've ever experienced before, just because he cuddles you right after the act. But when you think of it, there are times, it's not like when you open the door, you people just get to it. There's conversation that is had. So when you talk to this person, there's stuff that the person will utter. You look at the person's, perhaps, I don't know, dress code, and you will just think, I don't think I could ever date you. You are not my kind of guy. But on the other hand, intimately, you guys maybe are like, ooh, Bonnie and Clyde. You are partners in crime when it gets to the other aspect. But, and another thing is, you also tell yourself, I don't want to be seen with this person behind closed doors. Ladies, let's just be honest. It may be different for some ladies. For some ladies, it will be like, no, I don't even mind going out with this guy in public. It's, you know, but this is just, you know, for intimacy reasons. He mustn't think that we're dating or having any kind of relationship whatsoever. Or some ladies have gotten into relationships through just sexual encounters and automatically bonded themselves with the person that they really shouldn't have. I could go on and on about this topic, I promise you. I have sat down from personal experience, sitting down with fellow ladies, just hearing the different challenges and things that we expose ourselves to. We really are not built for this kind of casualness, for the lack of better words. Right, another pointer, which is pointer number 4, returning sex with favors. Ah, this one. I think even, what's this comedian's name from Queens of Comedy? Simone. She's got a good voice and she's really funny. She was talking about that a lot of women get to the point that when they enjoy sex so much, they can really give up a lot of their things. They can make a guy, you know, give their car keys to a guy. They can, you know, give the guy their credit card to run out their credit card. They pay the guy's bills. They get a flat for the guy, an apartment for the guy. They buy the guy a car. They buy groceries for the guy. They dress the guy up. They pimp him up, because you're telling yourself, look, if me and you are going to be intimate, you're going to be intimate at my standard, at my level. And this is like maybe high income type of women. So I'm going to raise you to the level that I want to be. That's why I said in the previous point, most of these women, most of these guys, if you really check it, they wouldn't be guys you would be caught dead in a relationship with. But when it comes to sex, you guys are completely fireworks. So point number 4 is returning sex with favors. So now, and all of this is still to prove that sex isn't enough. Because at the end of the day, you as the lady, you are spoiling this guy, you're pampering him, and all you're getting in return is sex. And it's still not enough. For some ladies, they'll say, it's enough. That's all I need, because men are stressed, men are problems. But the thing is, you're forming a soul tie, and you're forming a bond and an attachment to this person, and a healthy attachment to this person. You may be in the office and your body's on fire, and you call this person, please, can I see you today? You know, the person says, no, I don't have fuel, I don't have gas in my car, I don't have fuel in my car, or I don't have money to come to you to catch an Uber and whatever. And you're like, no, don't worry, I'll pay for it, don't worry, you can come. And then the guy comes. Is that what you really want? You're the one paying. And then obviously when he comes, he's got no money to go back, so you're the one who's going to fund him to go back. All in the name of sex. Really, all in the name of sex. All in the name of sex. So, some ladies buy phones. Even have a contract for the guy. So he will be phoning his other girlfriends on your contract, which you are paying for. And you have got the nerve, quote unquote, to give sanctions. Yeah, when I buy your phone, this phone is only for me. You cannot phone anybody. You can't control that guy. You're not with him all the time. Half the time, most of us are not staying with those men in the first place. So, is it really worth it for you to go out and splurge on this guy just in the name of, just for sex? I repeat, just for sex. So some of us, if we don't buy them cars, then we get them to drive our cars. So the guy will pick us up. Here's a perfect one. Baby Boy. If you've never watched the movie Baby Boy, it's really an old movie. I think early 2000s, and I stand corrected, with Tyrese and Taraji P. Henderson. So, you know, you're driving your car, he's finishing your gas, he's got no food in the house, he can't take care of the bill, but the sex is amazing. That's why I said, ladies, we're not built for this. At some point, you'll get tired. I mean, you'll ask yourself, is this really what I want? Is this person really everything for me? Can I not get better? Some of us get these guys jobs. Some of them are jobless. We get these guys jobs. We connect them with, you know, people who are in our spheres of influence or in our circles. We, when it's time for a holiday, we take them with us on holiday, put them on business class or first class seats. Now, some of these brothers have never flown in their lives. Brothers, look, if this also applies to you in terms of You just saying, hey, this girl really knows how to, she really knows her work in the bedroom, and you're taking this person out and you're splurging on them. And is that really truly what you want? It's a false sense of happiness. It's a false sense of happiness. That high is very temporary. It's a very temporary high. So sex is that, when you think of it, is sex really enough? Is sex really that important to do all these things for somebody that you most times barely even know? Barely even know. Let me tell you, sometimes with these relationships, we don't even know where these men stay. And I know some of these ladies are like, yo, Francis's naming point is, I said I was going to be brutally honest. Some of us as ladies, we don't know where these guys stay. We're just happy having them in our homes, having them in our houses, or if we don't want them in our houses, we meet at the motel. Question is, who's paying the motel? Honey, let's say out of the motel, visitations. You will say, no, I'll pay for this one. And he's like, no, I got this one. And it's like 1 out of 10. Maybe you are paying for the 9 and he's paying just for 1. So you'll be happy with that. Oh, ladies. So let's see what the Bible says about pleasing the flesh. In Romans 8 verse 8, it says, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. Because you're constantly in the flesh. And this time, there's many things that can be used as an example or reference for this particular verse, but for this one I will use it for sex as well. That if you're always thinking about sex, how do you think you can please God? How do you think you can serve God when you're just consumed by sex? The other very important one is by, I think it's Romans 6 verse 16, and I actually opened the verse in the Bible. Now Romans 6 verse 16 says, don't you know that when you offer yourselves to someone to obey him as slaves, you are slaves to the one whom you obey, whether you are slaves to sin, which leads to death, or to obedience, which leads to righteousness. So don't you know that when you offer yourself to someone, you're automatically that person's slave? Meaning, when you offer yourself, ladies, to this man for sex, automatically you are a slave to that man. Any problem that this man gives you, he will lay out his problems. I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. And you are thinking, like I said in the previous point, I think it's number 2 or number 3, I said you can't let him go because he gives you that good. So now you're thinking, let me return the sex with favors, because I can't let go of this person. This person understands me, this person gets me. So to keep this person in my life, in my environment, I need to do 1, 2, 3. I need to pay for this. I need to provide for this. And you do exactly that. Are you not being a slave to that person already? And is that the person that you're supposed to be a slave to? Is that the thing you're supposed to be a slave to, is my question. Then you also have Galatians 5 verse 19 to 21, and you've also got Romans 8 to 7. Now, for the purposes of progress of this video, if I open all the Bible verses, because I tell you, I asked God, I said, God, please show me the different verses in the Bible that refer to us being slaves to sex especially, and how sex is, we kind of use sex as a kind of anchor to build our lives on. So it was a really beautiful journey. That was point number 4, returning sex with favors. Right, let's move on to point number 5, and we're still on the topic, sex just isn't enough. Some women get into catfights with other women, obviously, well, let's assume so, over a man who isn't even a boyfriend, but just a booty call. It's crazy. It's crazy what women can really subject themselves to. It's crazy what women can really reduce ourselves to. Women can be caught either in the house, or in a mall, or wherever, getting into a massive cat fight over a guy who's not even your boyfriend, he's your booty call. Why? Because you have returned the sex with favor. So when he's driving your car and he's doing whatever, perhaps you as the woman, you go to a shopping mall and after work and you want to pick up a few groceries, and who do you see? Hand in hand with another woman, your booty call. It starts. How dare you, after everything I've done for you? I mean, first of all, does this guy really owe you anything? If you think of it. If you claim it's just for the sex, why are you jealous because he can give his body to everybody else? As long as you also get your share. Some women are like, yeah, but it's the same. It's fine. He can go and get as many women, sleep with as many women as he likes. So how do you feel comfortable knowing that what he's giving you isn't giving with sharing with everybody else? Are you truly comfortable when you sit down and you think, and I was about to get graphic again, and he does certain acts on you? There's no way you can be arrogant enough to think that he is not doing that with somebody else. It's pure arrogance to think that he doesn't do that with anybody else. But the sad part and the pathetic part is that you'd get into a fight with another woman who's been impressed by him because you have polished and spruced this guy up to the level that you want him to be. Remember I said to you, some of these guys, we are not ready to even date them. They're not worth being our boyfriends. Now he's going to be dating this chick because you've polished him and she's attracted to this polished person. She doesn't know, she doesn't have any idea. Then his behind is going to be exposed to his girlfriend because you're going to be undressing or throwing out all your dirty linen in public. Catfights. Ladies, we can't reduce ourselves to such a degree. We can't. And I know some women, when they start doing these favors for these men, they implement do's and don'ts. You will do this. You will not do this. As I said earlier, some of us don't even know where these people stay. We don't. We don't know where they stay. But we're very happy, giving the most sacred part of our bodies that God has given us to these people so casually. And then when we see them with other people, we get so angry. Is sex that important to you for you to reduce yourself to that degree? That's point number 5. Point number 6, some people are okay with just being a side piece, just as long as they have someone to keep them warm every now and then, which I did touch on here and there with the previous pointers. So, because you have a sexual urge, most people tell themselves, the body wants what the body wants. I just read a verse in the Bible from Romans 6 verse 16, which talks about you being a slave to something. Being a slave to sex. Being obedient to sex. Is that what you really want? To be okay being a side piece? Say for instance, this guy can really, look after himself, and he's a working guy, and he can provide for himself, and the two of you are just meeting as adults, and you claim you're just meeting as adults. He's got his relationship on one side, you've got your relationship on one side, or maybe you don't even have a relationship because you're tired of being burnt as a lady. So he can take care of his own, but he says to you, I still want to be intimate with you, but I want to have my relationship on this side. And some ladies are like, it's fine, I'm not going to call you because I know you've got your person, I'm not going to disturb you, and all I want is just for us to get together whenever we need to get together, just to satisfy the urge. Some people, some ladies cannot live without sex. And I know during this quarantine a lot of people are dying. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It's sad. It's sad how much we have reduced ourselves just for the power of sex, for the love of sex, the urge of sex, the need for sex, the desire for sex. It's so important to some people. They will do anything and everything just to get laid. I mean, some people honestly can get into a depression if they don't have a fix. They get into depression, so it becomes an addiction. I believe that uncontrolled sex is definitely an addiction. It's just as good as every other addiction. And we use sex for many reasons. Some of us use it for procreation, some of us use it for recreational purposes. Some of us use it for, as a drug. There's something that we just to live off that high, that intimacy, that we live off of that. And as a result, it becomes an addiction. No matter how much the person is treated, they're going to be willing to endure it. Just because at least they're having some kind of action on the side. And it's so sad, because I know that there's a lot of women in this world that are doing that. There's a lot of women. Here's a story. We've got a few minutes, yes, I do. I'm never going to name or shame anyone. It's so sad. This guy has his girlfriend. And he has the audacity to ask me if we can hook up for fun. Ladies, sometimes, you know, some ladies are flattered. They're like, oh, so he finds me desirable. Ooh. And I don't have anyone, so I might as well do it. You know what I mean? I don't lose anything. Now this guy calls me up, tells me that he's been, you know, observing me, and he is seriously infatuated with me, and he thinks we should get together as adults. So some of this content, I promise you, it's from personal experience. It's not that I've just thumb-sucked it from anywhere. I just asked myself two questions. One, is this what this person thinks I'm worth? That was the first question. Is this what this person thinks I'm worth when they see me? And for that person to make that kind of suggestion clearly means that he's been getting away with it. He's been talking to so many women and he's gotten away with it, and he's probably hardly dealt with a woman who's resisted him. You know, so does he really think that I would be okay with that kind of request or suggestion? That was the first thing I told myself. The second thing I told myself was, if I were to agree on this and I get feelings, or either one would catch feelings, what would happen to the other woman? What would happen to the other woman? What would happen if we were caught? Would he defend me? Would he protect me? Or he wouldn't? This, which boils down from point number one. What does this person take me for? What do you take me for? Ladies, sometimes we really need to learn to have a lot of pride in ourselves. I can tell you, if you think you can handle this, it's a matter of time. You are going to crack, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. You're going to crack. It's not going to be a pretty sight at all. Because as ladies, like I said earlier on, it's very easy for us to catch feelings. We're going to catch feelings. You will catch feelings, especially when this person is somebody that you're probably attracted to. And after your session, you're lying in bed and you're arm in arm with this person, and you're thinking, wow, you know, I really wish this would work. And then you're filling your head with nonsensical fantasies of things that will never, ever happen. Some of us as women, sex is just not enough. Pointer is that we fall, you know, we're happy as side pieces of married men just for sex, and them returning the sex with favors. And then the conditions will be, as if I buy you this, you cannot phone me, you cannot contact me at certain times. You can only speak to me from 8:30 in the morning until 4:30, because from 5 o'clock I'm on my way home, or I may be picking up the kids from school, so I can't be entertaining any phone calls. I know guys who have got 2 phones. One guy actually hid his phone in the garage at home. So when he gets home, he switches off his phone, which he reaches his booty calls in, and then he plonks it into an old paint canister in the garage. And I mean, ladies, really, you wouldn't think of going into an old paint canister in your garage and looking for God knows what, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, is that right? Let me look. Good for you. Whatever you find, it wasn't me. I don't know you there. It's sad. And I asked this guy, but why do you do that? Why he told me this is because he also wanted my number. So I played along and I said, okay, so if I have your number and I call you, what if I call you at 7? It's like, no. You say this phone, this is my special phone. You can't call me on this phone, because this phone, when I get home in the evening, I switch it off and I put it in a paint can in my garage. That's how I know. I knew about it. I was like, oh, okay, so then when do I get to talk to you? Then he's like, no. You can only call me after 9, after I've dropped the kids from, you know, at school. You know, when I dropped off, I just said, you're a very big fool. I looked at this guy and I said, you're a very big fool. How dare you? But then again, you can think, you know what, I can go insulting these people, or I can just simply ignore it. Sometimes some comments are just, you know, they're irresistible. You cannot resist really giving it back. Like really spewing vile stuff from your mouth, because you can't believe that somebody has spoken to you so condescendingly. And you're like, you're not going to get away with this. I am going to give you a piece of my mind. Right, so that was pointer number 6. Some people are okay being a side piece. Under the topic, sex just isn't enough. Number 7, and this is the last one. And it's a classic one. There's nothing that somebody will not hear. Here's a classic one. A woman who's cranky, on edge, you know, talks too much, complains too much, gets angry very quickly, is a woman who needs sex. You know what? That may be true. That may be true. And let me support the statement in one way, and that's scientifically. Normally as women, when our bodies, when we're reaching our menstrual cycle and our bodies are ovulating, our bodies are preparing us to procreate. They are preparing to receive the seed of a man. So at that time, yes, you are going to be, your hormones are on another level and stuff like that. It's because, you know, you're getting ready to mate with your partner for the purposes of procreation, not for the purposes of recreation. There's a huge difference. But it's insulting, you know, when a guy just blurts it out to you to say, you're cranky, you need some. You need some. I mean, you can't talk to somebody like that, guys. It's really condescending. It's rude, especially when you're not that used to that person. And even if you are, at least practice respect towards that lady. You can't just go saying that. And to further add to that, at one point I actually believed that comment was true. Until I started understanding, okay, but why did they say that? And I thought, okay, no, I'll relate it to our menstrual cycle and our hormones skyrocketing and then hitting an all-time low. It's because our bodies are really ready for us to procreate with somebody. So that's the time when men feel like, yes, you're cranky, so you need some. Right. I came to the understanding, the realization that that just makes me a slave to the act and the desire, especially when I succumb to it. So whenever as ladies we get those hormonal changes in our bodies, some ladies don't know how to curb and fight that and resist that urge. They will just quickly go out and say, you know what, I'm going to get mine. Some ladies have got such a high libido, or libido, for whatever whatever tickles your fancy. And it may not even be during the time where they're hormonal. It could be any time during the month. She is an ever-ready battery, you know. Some women, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Their bodies are like that. I'm not going to judge those women at all. The problem that I have as a fellow sister is when we just succumb to that desire and that urge at that particular time, and we force ourselves to kind of accept less than we really should. That's when I kind of have a problem, you know, with those kinds of sexual urges and desires. And at one point I believed that I needed to concede to my yearnings in order to, you know, derive contentment and satisfaction. Most of the things that people go through are through experience. It's never things that are thumb-sucked, you know. But you realize that when you succumb, like I said in the previous point, you will feel empty. You cannot get to a point where you're just engaging in casual sexual relationships without it eventually having an effect on you, especially as a woman. Especially as a woman. Men, yes, they do have soul ties, but I'm not going to talk about men right now. I'm talking about ladies, because we are emotional creatures. Excuse me, it's very difficult for us to detach from people that we've been intimate with. So I'm going to go back to a Bible verse, and when I was talking about this point where I said, which talks about women who are cranky just need sex, it took me to Romans 8 verse 5. Romans 8 verse 5. Verse 5. I'm saying versed. Romans 8 verse 5. Right. Romans 8 verse 5 says, those who live according to the sinful nature have their minds set on what that nature desires. But those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires. So if you're according to sinful nature, or rather if you live according to sinful nature and you have your mind set on what that nature desires, that means automatically you're a slave to it. I do apologize. Okay, that was just my phone ringing. You really become a slave to it. You can't be a slave to sex. ladies, this video, it's just to prove that sex isn't enough. It just isn't enough with the different scenarios that I've painted to you, and I'm sure there are many more. And please don't forget to, please ladies, just, or even men, add a comment at the bottom. I'm really excited to know what your feelings are and your thoughts are in relation to this topic. This type of mindset, where you now just succumb to your desires, is going to lead you to two things: pornography and masturbation. There's no way, and that opens doors to many other things. When you're just weak in your desires, one has to learn to not give in to the desires of the flesh, lest they are corrupted by that and they die in sin. And that is not what God wants for us. Some of you will find this, a video very amusing, but some of you won't, because the truth is it's bitter. It's a bitter pill to swallow. You can't succumb to your sexual desires each and every time. If anything, you shouldn't be succumbing to them at any time. The only person you owe your body and they owe you is your husband or your wife. That's the only context in which you owe somebody your body. And that's an instruction in the Bible, that your bodies belong to each other. And the reason why they belong to each other is so that you do not open a door of temptation to allow somebody else to come in and fulfill that urge or that desire that you may be having, at that particular moment. That's what it's there for. So I just hope that with these pointers that I've given you, 7, that they really open your eyes and you see where I'm coming from when I say sex isn't enough. With the different scenarios that I've given, I tell you, it was very, difficult to get to some of the Bible verses and read them, and, I related to that completely. And God is a God of progress, and He's a God of healing, and He is a God who cares about what your concerns are. When you feel that you have this sexual desire, ladies or men, pray over it. I know some of you are like, how am I going to do that? Yes. Tell God and say, you know what, Father, I'm really struggling with this. I'm not going to be that blunt and really say it on camera, but there are some things that you have to really be blunt and say, you know what, like, I really need to have sex right now, and I am struggling, and I need this to go away. I need some form of distraction, Father, that can really help this phase go away. Because you know what, if you think of it, it's actually a phase. And it's a couple of, sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's days, especially for women when we're during our ovulation period. Sometimes it's days, and it's so intense, and you think, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. You actually will. You will. I remember in one of the videos, the previous one, I said how to find yourself, and I said invest in yourself. Look for something else that will distract your mind. Paint. Do coloring books, which is a funny one, as I mentioned in the previous book. Do coloring books, do pottery, I don't know, find something to dance, exercise. You know what, sweat it out. Exercise it out, gym it out. It'll help you. Right, so let's get to the conclusion of today's topic. So, in conclusion to this topic, I wrote, sex truly isn't everything. It isn't. God is everything. There is nothing that you will feel that God does not already know. There is nothing that you will think that God does not already know. He knows. Ultimately, bills need to be paid, purposes need to be fulfilled, destinies have to be walked, a relationship with yourself and with God needs to be nurtured. All these things can't happen when you're focusing on sex, or you're focusing on any other thing for that matter. People being strangers, friends and family need help. So when I say people, I'm talking about friends, family, strangers, whoever. We all need help in this journey. And I know that sex is a very difficult milestone for a lot of people to come over, for a lot of people to get over, get through. A lot of people tend to be very weak in the flesh. As the Bible says that, your flesh is weak. Your spirit is willing. It's so willing. Your spirit tells you, I'm not going to do this, but then the flesh just succumbs. God knows these things. That's why they're written in His Word. He knows what happens to our bodies. He knows what happens to our minds. But He encourages us to not be a slave to nature's desires. Nature, obviously, being sexual urges. It's a normal thing to have. It's not a sin. It's not a curse. Don't allow the devil to also come into your mind and say, yes, you are a very sexual, sinful creature. God wouldn't have created sex if he didn't have the intention of procreation, might I add. So, all these things, which is destinies, purposes, relationships between family members that have been strained over long periods of time, destinies, if I haven't mentioned that before, talents that have to be yet to be discovered. There is so much in this world to do. Philanthropic work is another one, without just constantly thinking about sex. There's so many things that we need to do, and all of these things that I mentioned before, they are non-sexual, for you to know that sex is just a part of who we are as human beings. There's many things to us. Some people, you can have many talents in one person. A person could be a great cook, a singer, a writer, a designer for that matter. Gosh, they could be good in their day-to-day job, which is maybe accounting, being an engineer, being a doctor, whatever the case is. We have strengths in the different talents that we have, but all of us are multi-talented in specific things. If you don't take the time to figure out what you're good at, then you are wasting your life. You are wasting your life if you think sex is everything, because it really is not everything. It's not everything. Right. So the myths out of your mind, or in your mind, that sex is a must in your life to cope with things, is exactly that. A myth. It's exactly that, a myth. Should you have this mindset or adopt it, you will wind up more empty than ever. More empty than ever. God is truly your own source of life. He truly is. You cannot get through this battle with sex. I mean, like I said, sex is like an addiction. If you don't deal with it now, it's going to ruin you. It'll ruin you. You will ruin homes. You will ruin relationships. You will ruin yourself. And when I say homes, you're affecting children. You're breaking up covenants where God said, let no man put asunder. And then if you're going to say, yeah, but it's not my fault, they must learn to control their homes, don't be there for you to even pass that comment. Don't be there. Trust and believe that God has somebody for you. Some people are doing it for survival, to say, yes, I sold myself to survive. If that was the case and you have learned, move from it. Don't live in it. It's not who you are. A lot of people are defined by sex. So many people. Television is over-sexualized. I remember I like watching Mike Rowe in Dirty Jobs. Yesterday, he just picked up a gourd. A gourd looks like a really enlarged form of butternut that really has nothing in it. Nothing in it. And they were cleaning out the contents of this gourd. Next thing, when you clean out the gourds, they form this hard shell, and these shells can be used for decorative purposes. So either you can paint Easter bunnies on them, which is what he had, you can paint penguins, you can paint different things with these gourds, depending on the shape. Then there was a way he carried the gourd, and then the person who had invited Mike actually said to him, well, you can be inventive and creative. It doesn't matter, what comes into your mind. You can just create it out of these gourds. Then Mike picks up this gourd and he puts it in a specific position, and he's like, yeah, I could definitely be creative with this one. And I was like, okay, there's another sexual connotation. So family, please be very careful. The devil is looking for whom to devour, and sex is a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful weapon. A very powerful weapon. So as you can see with all these pointers, family, sex just isn't enough. Ta-da! 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 Prank time. To God be the glory for giving me strength to talk about this. Honestly, it's not like I'm uncomfortable or I'm shy about it, but a lot of people don't want to hear the truth, especially when it's sex related. When you try to speak some sense, advice, guide, people to kind of stay away or abstain from sexual activities, you get looked at like, who do you think you are? Like, who on earth gave you authority to come and speak over my life? And you're thinking, I'm not speaking over your life. We're just friends, you know. We're just trying to crack ice. So I was just giving my 2 cents of, you know, advice. If you don't want it, then that's fine. It doesn't warrant insult, you know. But some people are not ready to hear that. Some people are not ready to let go of the lives that they're living. But if you hear this video at this point, I really pray that you are going to ask God to give you the wisdom to cut off that addiction, to cut off that dependency you have on this person, to cut off and to break that soul tie that you've built with people in your past. And to my ladies, we are not as strong as we think when it comes to this sex topic. We're not as strong as we think. We really aren't, because it gets to a point where you will feel empty. Because if it's just for the fun of it, at the end of the day, he's going to leave you and he's going to go back to whoever it is that he calls wife or girlfriend, and you will be left alone. And you can't engage in this all the time. Sometimes you'll make stupid suggestions like, but can't you just stay for like the weekend? Woman, he can't stay with you the weekend, he's got a wife and a girlfriend. Then you begin to get agitated and you want to create arguments with this person, but you knew from the onset. That's why I said, ladies, we were not built for this. We were not built for this. I pray that this video encouraged you. Please make sure that you visit some of the, you know, you read the Bible and you get the understanding, you know, and the peace that you need for closure in this particular topic. Sex just isn't everything. I hope you have a fabulous week. I'm going to try and do another recording as soon as possible. Hopefully. To God be the glory. May you be blessed, and stay blessed always. Look after yourself, wash your hands, stay clean, especially in this difficult and challenging time that we're living in with the COVID-19. I think I've said everything that I need to say. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel to make sure that you get a, you know, you get a first hand into the video that I've uploaded. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a fantastic time, you know, recording this video, as always. This is Intimate Conversations with Frances O'Brien, healing one heart at a time.